Well, I can't be totally hideous because I would be a lot funnier if I were. This past year, there seems to be this resurgence of skinny. Thin is back in, and there is no doubt in my mind that Ozempic has a great amount. What? There seems to be this resurgence of skinny, and thin is back in, and there's no doubt in my mind that Ozempic has a huge part to play in this. Obviously, skinny was never out. Skinny has always been the ideal. However, it is in everybody we see right now. All the celebrities, everything we see in like fashion and marketing, I feel like is just so largely back to the ideal that is thin. So last year I made a video talking about why women are kind of less popular on YouTube, and my thesis was about credibility and women and like their voices and opinions, and I was really nervous to post that video because I have always been insecure about my own opinions and whether they're valid, or like my crippling fear of being wrong or canceled for not understanding something or whatever. But the response to that video was incredible. I had so many people interacting with it critically and thoughtfully, and I had lots of people not, which was perfect because they contributed to my project and helped prove my thesis. It was great. Anyway, the response was overwhelming to that video, and so I wanted to try doing something again, but I've just been waiting for something that really started to like grind my gears. And yesterday I was thinking about this topic, and I started to write down in like a Word doc, and I was like, I'm gonna film this tomorrow. Like, so I have not thought this out too thoroughly, but just like the last video, I think sometimes it's okay to talk things through and have incomplete thoughts, so long as we acknowledge that we're still kind of wrestling with this. So that's what this is. I'm still figuring out how I feel about this and some of my points and stuff like that, so feel free to comment and interact with me thoughtfully and kindly, okay? First, I'd like to talk about some of my history with kind of like my body and my self-image, and I think all of us had a hard time as a teen. I was no exception. I remember trying to diet and work out and all this stuff, and I would take before photos. I think I still have some of them that are so jarring to look back at because the body dysmorphia is clear, because I can remember thinking I looked a certain way, and I look back at those photos and I'm like, that is a normal teenage girl body. Like, I am not fat and obese by any means. I wasn't skinny either, but like truly looking back at that, it's scary to think the power that my mind had over my whole worldview, because I did not look the way I thought I did. And that's kind of the main point of it to me, is that I was not seeing reality. I was not seeing the world clearly. That's kind of scary to look back at, and I think that happens with, dare I say, the majority of teenage girls. I was definitely on the train of skinny is better, and I don't like, to the point where I didn't think like being muscular was good either. I was like, if I'm gonna lose weight, I need to do it like through eating or through like cardio or something, so that I'm not getting muscle. Like, that's sad. That's sad, guys. I think what first started to make a difference for me in that respect was probably in my later teens, like early 20s. And I started to make some changes because I can't remember who it was. I was watching somebody talk about like, if following them makes you have like negative thoughts about your own body, that you should stop following them. And I never really considered that. Well, obviously, but I never really truly thought about what a huge difference it makes on who we see represented around us. Obviously, we weren't seeing it a lot in the media, but also the influencers and Instagrammers that I followed were kind of thinner, and some people I did choose to continue following because I like them as people. A lot of them I realized I wasn't following them for who they were, I was following them for what they looked like and kind of what I wanted to look like. One of the big changes I made early on was I was going to start following people with body types more similar to mine, or, you know, a bit more plus size. And I think that has made a big difference in my journey going forward. Like, for where I am now. Of course, with that, I started looking for more fashion inspiration for body shapes like mine and like what looks good on my body shape, and looking on Pinterest. More so now, like TikTok accounts, like fashion accounts, but people who look a bit more like me, or people who are like, you know, a size 10, 12, 13, 14, 16, like somewhere in that range. I have kind of reprogrammed my brain. Unfortunately, I do think getting older and maturing makes a huge difference, and that's something that's hard to just, you know, make happen with your own will. That's just something that time has to take care of for us. And obviously, if society didn't create the problem, we wouldn't have to outgrow the problem. But for a lot of us, we grow up and we still struggle with this. I still struggle with it. This is not me sitting here being like, I'm cured. I still struggle with it every day. In fact, I'm gonna be vulnerable and I'm gonna say I recently put on a bit of weight, and I just went on this spiral of like being so worried and afraid of starting the snowball effect, where I'm just gonna keep getting more weight, gaining more weight and more weight and more weight until I have like a real problem on my hands. And so I really started to kind of control my eating a bit more. I think I was able to do it in a healthier way. I kind of adopted a mindset of like, if this is gonna be miserable, there's no point. If I'm gonna go to bed hungry, there's no point. Like, what was that? Is it my cat? Anyway, I just kind of set more parameters around what is acceptable and not acceptable, and what's like a healthy way to do it. And if I'm not able to have a dessert or go out to eat with people, again, there's no point. Like, I'm not living my life. And so I think I've grown immensely to be able to approach it this way. But also, I know I'm still suffering because I looked at myself and thought I had to fix something. So I know that I am still suffering from the system I'm in, I guess. I will say that honestly, queerness has made a massive difference in this regard. Not necessarily about being gay, but the whole decentering the male gaze part of it is huge. Obviously, it's easier if you're queer, but I think that's also something that even, you know, straight women or anybody that might suffer from the male gaze affecting how we think we should look. It's much easier said than done. Decentering the male gaze will help anybody. It's a lot easier, I think, if you kind of are queer and you can kind of be fully in it of like, oh, this doesn't matter to me anymore. It's a lot harder, I think, if you're straight or somebody who dates men to kind of decenter that, but it's a huge part of it. Being able to change that outward pressure of wanting to impress, or what we think we should look like, or what people should look like, or how we should look to be dateable, like that kind of pressure isn't easily undone. Next, I want to talk about reprogramming my brain, reprogramming our brains. I'm not a professional, this is just commentary. I don't want to be skinny, but I want to be skinny. What does that mean to you? To me, this is a problem I constantly struggle with. When I imagine my ideal body type, it is much like the one I have now, but when I see myself, I think I need to be skinnier, I'm too fat. That is a crazy mental game that I cannot escape from. Doesn't that not make sense at all? Like when I see people on Instagram or I see like these TikTok fashion accounts, I'm like, they look amazing. And the cat feeder's going off. What was I even talking about? And I'm basically there, but I can't see my own self that way. Like I have a major problem in my brain with connecting these two dots. I can't, from what I want and who I am, they can't connect because of who I think I'm supposed to be and who I've been trained to think I'm supposed to be my entire life. I'm seriously, like, in a dark way, I'm brainwashed. This like reprogramming our brains to think differently, like to stop thinking about skinniness and male-centered what we should look like, all that nonsense. That's incredibly hard to reprogram. I saw this video from this girl that has kind of changed my life this year, and she was talking about dog breeds, and she was like, there's so many different dog breeds. Like there's small dogs, there's medium dogs, like there's really big dogs.
Body image hack for whenever I want to be skinnier even though I'm at a healthy weight is I remember that body types are kind of like dog breeds, and if I'm a corgi who wants to lose weight to look like an Italian greyhound, that's not going to make me look like an Italian greyhound. It's just going to make me look like a really sick, ugly corgi whose owners would probably want to put it down. And yeah, That always works for me.
They were kind of saying, like, if you have a Chihuahua and a Doberman, like, their ideal look will not be the same. Like, if a Doberman wants to look like a Chihuahua, that won't look good on the Doberman, you know? And I think that whole, I'll insert the video if I can, but that whole mindset of being like, I have my own body type and my own ideal that will look good on my body type it's kind of a tough pill to swallow, but it also kind of helps in a way of being like, okay, I need to look my best for a Doberman. Like my ideal for a Doberman is going to be different than if I was a Chihuahua. So maybe I need to live by that, you know? This isn't meant to be mean, but sometimes when I see like plus sized actors or something lose a ton of weight, it almost, I know that I'm used to seeing them the one way, which is a factor, but I also am like, it just doesn't seem to suit them as well. Like their face shape and their face size, like it was all so much more proportional on their bigger body. And I'm not saying that, you know, they should live an unhealthy life or whatever, but I just think sometimes skinny doesn't look good on everyone. And again, like, I want them to live their best life. I want them to be fit and happy and eat well, obviously. But if it's from the pressure to be skinny, I don't think it suits everybody. I don't know. It's more of a problem that we think it should suit everybody, right? I think another way to kind of escape the thinking about our body part of it is focusing more on like makeup and fashion and hair and kind of putting our energy into feeling good in an outfit, or like putting our energy into getting into fashion or learning how to do our hair or learning how to do cool makeup or something, is a way to kind of own how we feel about ourselves without making it about how our body itself looks. Obviously that's easier said than done. I think it's much more productive to worry about that though than to worry about the fat on my body, so to speak. Sometimes I just see these girls walking around and they'll have like, I don't know, like no makeup on, but they have their hair done really nice, or they're wearing like a really cool outfit. And I'm like, they just look so cool and effortless. I think that's been a huge inspiration to me, is like thinking about my makeup and like maybe my makeup's not done and I haven't changed the entire look of my face. So maybe I feel insecure about my face, but when I see other people and they just have like a super cool outfit, like I think they look so cool, and I'm trying to apply that to myself of like, maybe I don't need to do my makeup today to feel awesome. And by that I mean like, I don't have to do makeup, hair, and outfit to feel awesome. Maybe I just need to put on a cool outfit and accept that maybe my hair's in a bun or maybe my makeup's not done, because I always think it looks so effortless on other people. Why can't I do it? I really took a lot of inspiration from this when I went to Mexico recently, is I bought a lot of cool clothes and I was like, I'm gonna brush my hair and I'm gonna put mascara on and I'm gonna go out. And honestly, I felt so, I don't know the word for it. I felt so happy in my body and like I had all these cool outfits and I just really felt confident. And a lot of my life I haven't felt confident without a full face of makeup or my hair done or whatever. To the point even where I would go to school in like leggings and a hoodie, but I would have a full beat and my hair was curled and like all this stuff, and it didn't look good at the time because I was like 16, but it just made me realize that sometimes the power of what I'm wearing is much more powerful than the things I can change about myself. I don't know if that makes any sense. It's probably different for everybody. Sometimes if I forget about how I look and I focus on the things that I can control, I think that makes a big difference. I don't know. Some final thoughts. One of the things I find so beautiful about the world we currently live in is how much individual style has truly blossomed. We see so many different niches on the internet and people who just kind of have their own style, like whether it's like cottagecore or kind of maybe like an edgier style, or girls who are like back into like Y2K or something, like just, you know, every core you can think of. There's so many people who, despite the changing trends, are still into their own aesthetic and are doing that. And I think that's so cool because we can go and find somebody who suits our aesthetic, and we can go find a community that suits that. And I think that's so cool, is that we kind of live in a world where there are so many people who are still gonna love what they love, and you can find them and interact and get inspiration and stuff like that. And that, I do feel like one of the bright sides of you know, the internet and TikTok and all this annoying stuff, is that obviously fashion trends still circulate, but I feel like there's still so much more room for individual personal style. I think that's really cool. There's a bright side. We found one. They can try, but they can't make us. Obviously, I think it's a huge problem, and I feel incredibly sad for the young people who are going to be growing up with the skinny culture again. I remember what it was like for me in high school. Tumblr, you know, thigh gaps, self-harm, eating disorder culture. That scares me. In a sad way, I think that never really fully went away. But I am definitely scared to see a resurgence of that in our young people. One thing I've been practicing in past years is more like body neutrality. I feel like body positivity never really felt right to me because I didn't believe the things. Like I could look in the mirror and I could be like, I'm beautiful and I'm perfect the way I am, but I never really believed it. And I think if you're kind of like that too, maybe give body neutrality like a chance. It's more like, instead of looking and forcing yourself to think something positive, which might work for you, it's more about trying not to think anything and kind of like separating ourself from our body, if that makes sense. That's maybe not a good description. Body neutrality. A mindset that shifts the focus away from physical appearance, encouraging you to accept and respect your body for what it does rather than how it looks. So like maybe instead of looking in the mirror, which is what I do, and you know, starting to think things, sometimes I just go like, nope, this isn't going to be a positive experience. Let's go do something else, or something like that. Or maybe shifting it to think more about like what our bodies do for us, and like, this body helped me get through the day, or this body helps me do my job at work, or whatever. It's up to you. I try to kind of tend to veer towards, nope, we don't think anything about it, you know? And it's not like I'm just like blocking it out. I don't see. It's something that I also do with my OCD, is like when I start to obsess over something or I start to really get fixated on something, I go, okay, we're gonna do this now, because just sitting in it and letting it fester doesn't really help, and I'm not gonna get anywhere. I do that same kind of technique when it comes to my body. If I'm looking and I think, God, I look bloated and fat today, I go, nope, what outfit should we wear? Like, what are we gonna wear that's comfortable today? Like, you gotta shift. Sometimes I just need to pivot. Anyway, like I said, I didn't really share any hardcore knowledge. This is just me yapping about something I thought was kind of interesting and relevant. Hopefully it helped like affirm what you're thinking or feeling at this time watching this. We are not alone. We can't escape this. It is impossibly unfair that we have to see it everywhere around us. But I do believe that we can try to keep our spaces a little more positive. Thank you so much for watching. This is choking me. It means the world to me that you do. You can like, comment, subscribe if you want to, but hey, I'll just give you a big kiss if you don't anyway. No threats in the body positivity movie? Guys, this is a movie now. No threats in the body positivity video. I love you so much. Thank you for making it this far. I forgot I posted a video like an hour ago. Oh shit. I forgot to promote it at all. Testing, I'm just suggesting you and I might not be the best thing. Test. Famous YouTuber alert. Tripod, premium plus crackers, and Brita filters. It's gonna be good.